In Splatoon 3, you play as a stylish salmon, alongside their larger tentacled companion, who take a train to the Splatlands, only to discover that the great Zapfish has been stolen by the Octarians. So the young Splatling gets recruited by Captain Cuttlefish to become an agent for the Squidbeak Splatoon, and gets sent on a mission to take back the great Zapfish and defeat the Octarian leader DJ Octavio. They can't keep getting away with this! But wait, I've only been playing for like 45 minutes, there's no way the game's over already, right? And Octavio doesn't even know where the great Zapfish is. He's actually on his own mission for revenge, because some of his Octarian troops have gone missing. Oh god, please tell me Turquoise October is okay. Suddenly, the ground below them crumbles, and our heroes fall into a crater, where as they're falling, Cuttlefish gets grabbed by some mysterious purple ooze. And even more mysterious, all of Agent 3's clothes just come off. And apparently they're wearing a different set of clothes underneath? Nintendo, you can't fool me with these sleight of hand tricks. Why is my protagonist wearing two different sets of clothes? New Agent 3 then lands in a frozen crater, where they find old Agent 3, who is now the captain of the Squidbeak Splatoon, alongside Callie and Mari, who apparently have a tracker placed on Cuttlefish, which I would usually say is an invasion of privacy, but considering the guy gets abducted almost as often as the great Zapfish, I would say it's completely warranted at this point. So the old vets send new Agent 3 on a mission to track Cuttlefish down. Hey, aren't you guys also agents and former agent now captain? Congrats on the promotion, by the way. Can't you guys also help Agent 3? At least Callie will hand out some spare change she found in her back pocket every now and then. But the other two are just straight chillin'. Because it's a frozen crater. Along their journey, 3 comes across a whole bunch of gooey fuzz that their salmonid friend Small Fry can consume for the small price of hundreds to thousands of fish eggs, of which Agent 3 can obtain by entering the various kettles spread across Alterna, linked to a vast underground abandoned civilization, where Agent 3 must complete difficult trials given to them by a supercomputer AI known as Orca. Please no more target practice, it's been 3 games and I'm just now learning how to use motion controls. Frequently, Agent 3 will come across Splatsville idols Shiver, Fry, and Big Man, who want to claim all the treasure across Alterna, even though they already have the highest paying jobs in Squid society. Listen, I know that they later say that they're planning on giving the money to the needy people of Splatsville, but they're also attempting to maim innocent children with giant sea creatures, so their plan is morally questionable at best. At one point, Cuttlefish manages to make contact with the Squidbeak Splatoon, and relay that he's being held captive at the peak of a giant rocket. But the blood-curdling scream that he lets out before going radio static doesn't leave much hope to the fate of old Grandpa. Meanwhile, 3 collects all the trash scattered around Alterna, and the team puts their brains together to combine them into one big piece of trash that Captain 3 uses to cut up all the fuzz surrounding the rocket. Finally, Captain 3 does something besides sitting around sulking. Oh wait, hold on, they twisted their ankle? Alright, cool, guess the new recruit will handle the rest. Agent 3 then makes their way to the top of the rocket, only to discover that Cuttlefish has been fashioned into a delicious piece of dried squid, after having his bodily juices sucked out of him. But a single tear from Captain 3's face lands on his body, and rehydrates him back to life. If you can call existing as a thin slice of squid living, that is. Oh yeah, and the mastermind behind all of this is Mr. Grizz. See, I was right all along. All of you didn't call me stupid and everyone mostly agreed with me, so maybe it actually wasn't that high IQ of a read. You know what a fade to white means, it's flashback time. So remember how last time I said all of humanity had gone extinct? Well, I was right. They did all go extinct. Just not as quickly as we originally thought. A handful of humans took off into space on a rocket containing a bunch of species from Earth, placed into cryosleep, in order to repopulate on a different planet. Meanwhile, on Earth, a handful of humans survived the mass extinction, inside of a volcanic crater, where they began reproducing and recreating humanity, even 3D printing some of our more iconic creations, as well as building a supercomputer to record all of humanity's knowledge and history inside of, which they called Orca. In this crater called Alterna, there existed plenty of marine creatures, and it's within the squids of Alterna that scientists found a fluid that could read the minds of living organisms, and change its color to match the viewer's innermost thoughts. The scientists made this liquid into crystals that they lined the walls and roofs of Alterna with, and the crystals projected all of humanity's desire for a sky onto itself. But the people wanted more than a fake wall sky, they wanted the real sky. So they built a giant rocket to take themselves out of the crater. But during a test drive, the shockwaves caused by the rocket's launch brought the crystal walls crumbling down on top of them. And then humanity had gone extinct. See, we got there eventually, it just took a while. The crystals that fell into the water below got absorbed by the sea creatures, and the marine life inherited mankind's feelings and ideologies, so they evolved into more human-like species, and gave up their sea legs for some fleshy flesh legs. Meanwhile, the budget Noah's Ark got hit by space debris and was sent straight back to Earth, ending its 10,000-year-long voyage. Wah, wah. Upon re-entry, the only surviving life form on board was a bear, who awoke to find that life on Earth was a lot moister than he remembered. Grizz, seemingly the last living mammal, then found the wastelands of Alterna, and discovered a way to combine the crystals with a patch of his own fur and a pinch of golden salmonid egg to create a substance that could turn any sea creature into a furry creature. He then recruited unsuspecting Inklings and Octolings into joining his scam organization Grizzco, where they would be sent into Salmonid territory to collect handfuls of golden eggs, so that Grizz could create a stockpile of his fuzzy ooze. Back to the present day, Grizz takes off into space on a rocket that was powered by the Zapfish, and is filled with all of his fuzzy ooze, which he plans to crash into the Earth, covering the whole planet in ooze, and hailing the return of the mammalians, which would suck. Besides, we already have Judd. We don't need any more mammals when we already have the best one. Shiver and Fry use their ink powers to send Small Fry and Agent 3 into space, where DJ Octavio swoops in for his redemption arc, so that he could hopefully be forgiven for his decades of war crimes. Callie and Mari then sing their one-hit wonder Calamari incantation, which powers up Small Fry, turning him into Large Fry. Huge Fry. And the Big Bear and the Big Salmon duke it out in space, which buys enough time for 3 and Octavio to fire a giant laser at Grizz, blasting them into space. Wait, hold on, we're already in space. Blasting them into smithereens. And they all lived happily ever after, and spent their days debating whether a tomato is a vegetable or a fruit or something. Now it's time for the Lazy Lore Roundup. Little Judd, you know, the evil clone of the cat that has fought in wars and referees death matches. Come on, we covered this in the last class. Has taken over Grizzco in Mr. Grizz's absence, with the company still being necessary because the 7 unholy rings of light, prophesized in the Splatoon Bible, have heralded the return of big runs. AKA salmon runs, but the salmon are coming to jump you at your home instead of the other way around. And on the topic of vaguely explained light, there's another sunken scroll that tells the story of 3 beams of light that saved the Splatlands from a great flood. And the symbols that are used here are the same symbols that are associated with each member of Deep Cut. What does it mean? Only Squid God knows. And speaking of Squid God, within the final Alterna log that you obtain after completing an insanely difficult kettle that took me a whole 5 hours to complete, and that's saying something because I'm pretty good at Splatoon. I mean, look at my ranking. I'm C. I'm not C minus. I'm a C. It talks about a prophet squid that emerged thousands of years ago and laid out the foundation for modern cephalopod civilization. Who could this progenitor inkling be? I don't know. I've decided I'm not giving out any more theories after my last one turned out to be right. Theoretically, if I do this, then my correct prediction rate will always be 100%, and I'll be seen as a prophet by all societal standards. Wait, a prophet? Like the inkling in the Alterna log? Am I the progenitor squid? Stay tuned for the upcoming Splatoon 3 DLC to find out. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.